ready? Who's ready for some boom, baby? Boom! Let's go. Rise and shine. Doing some morning affirmation times. It's the prism of perspective. Let's go. Let's go for a slow. A little morning motivation. Saints addiction. Let's go. LBOG, Las Vegas original. I belong here. This place chose me. Let's go. Who's ready? Who's ready for some boom, baby, boom? Let's have a conversation about the prism of perspective, baby. Saints addiction live. Just looking jacked. Watching these videos from the time gone past. Let's have this question outside, and then I got some work to do. Let's have a morning motivation, if you will, and then we'll have this conversation. Let's go. A little bit outside. Don't lock me out.
You can put here right away.
Yo. Watch this one go. Slamming. Another. God, that smells so good. You know? That morning fresh air smell. You know, it's still kind of being rainy and gloomy. I'm still finding the perspective in my prism, inside my mind, inside my team, inside my life. You know, not all days are as sunshiny as the morning motivation can be, but it took me listening to my teammate, you know, Mass, talk about his 52 weeks and how he's literally been on the case this whole time, talking about how cool it was to meet me. And I'm like, oh man, that was a month ago, but he's still buzzing off of me meeting his partners, and I'm still buzzing off of my perspective. It was breaking me down. I was like, oh no, it's already getting cold. It's already gray. It's already rainy, you know, like this is it. Summer's over. I was being so pessimistic. And, you know, not all days are super high highs, even though we're going to blow some morning motivation. But sometimes you need to realize that, you know, it is the ups, it is the downs, it is the smiles, it is the frowns. Not everything is a touchdown. And it takes us to open our eyes and realize that sometimes it's about life, you know, it's about growth, and it's a slow process. It's something we gotta look down and observe, like these little yellow or purple flowers that I've never seen before. I don't know if you've ever seen these before, but I don't know if you ever got to see yourself rise before. You know, after a situation that didn't work out, do you rise to the occasion, or do you burn out? Do you get revert back to, oh shit, there goes the joint we club. The joint wants to join the ground, and be able to get that kind of perspective in your mind and in your life. And that's what I realized. Not everything's trouble and strife. You know, not everything's about kids and a wife. Everything's about life and having that expanse in your mind. We say some things are so important, then we go to the hospital and find out what's really important. You know, they say that family is important, then we have really good friends and we make them our family. Shigar, good morning. And then we'll say all sorts of things to ourselves that don't really make sense. And this is why it's a prism. You know, our perspective has to grow inside this prism. If you're not familiar with the prism, it's where light travels through and reflects multiple colors. We are that prism, full of multiple colors. Dark colors, light colors, bright colors, dull colors. The whole rainbow of colors is inside of us. I think of all the people, like I said yesterday, in these apartments living their different lives, and each one has their own trajectory, a family to make, a college to go to, a job that wants them. It's all of us deciding what kind of journey we want to be on. And the perspective that we have, is it healthy enough for us to enjoy the path we walk? And that's what was really occurring to me. It looked like I was being depressed, but then my teammate was being happy, and I was like, that fueled me to increase my prism and possibilities. Where someone else's trash is another man's treasure. When our fears dull and our appreciation heightens, that it wasn't always low, but then you wouldn't have the high. And to get high highs, to really realize that life is going on, and it's amongst us, and it's not exactly polished. It's not always perfect. Even today, they even took the flag down. Shit, there's no flag right there. Usually there's a Finland flag right there. Even today, it's one of those days where I realize that I'm still growing, I'm still learning, and as long as I'm alive, I'm still trying. And that's the best thing, is to try before you die. I always put that out there. Look at this beautiful flower right here, bro. Look at that. My God. And the trees still keep doing mine. They don't have a prism. They just have nature and a cycle. And most of us, we've outcycled ourselves, and I look at all the things and I make sure that it's all part of my plan. Instead of just vacillating about things, I wanted it to rise up inside of me and find that energy, that energy that keeps me positive, that keeps my perspective healthy, instead of bouncing off the prism and going into some of those darker colors. Good morning. There's going to be people that see it always differently. They're going to have their prism, but instead of adjusting the aperture, which is like the front of the camera, they stay inside and go, well, these are the things that I don't have. And I was like, well, here's another thing that didn't happen. And it was one of these things that's really been shocking my system. But I finished the conversation. Like, I went to South Korean prison. What I didn't finish saying was that I'm not there anymore, right? And it was like, yeah, that happened to me, but at least it's still not happening to me, right? Or, oh, you don't have any money. Sure, I don't have any money, but I'm not in the hospital either. But that also conversation, and plus, or definitely not happening anymore, needs to take place inside of your head. It needs to be part of your healthy perspective. That even though we'll say things like, I got into a car accident, but did you die? You know what I mean? Like, that's the biggest questions of our lives. It's like, yeah, but did you die? And one of the things that you don't get to really finish while you're speaking, while I'm in Finland speaking Finnish and finishing, we got to be able to finish the whole sentence of that happened to me, but this also could have kept occurring, right? Like, if it was, let me use some examples in my head. My shoulders hurt, my knees hurt, my whole Saints Addiction outfit, but at least I can still walk. Like, do you know how huge that is? I was listening to Robert Greene, and he's the one that wrote 48 Laws of Good Morning and 48 Laws of Power. And he said, I used to love swimming. And I was like, but now I had a stroke. I'm not allowed to swim anymore. And it's like something that brought him so much joy has been taken away from him. And now he doesn't get to have that outlet anymore. For most of us, if we say, oh man, I have to go to the gym, or instead of I get to go to the gym, we get something in our minds to show the minuses instead of the positives, instead of the pluses, and say, well, at least this is still happening. At least, I don't know, maybe I'm getting away from the Wi-Fi, but did you die? Like, that's one of the biggest reflections of our lives. We'll have so many minuses to count. Like, a lost job, lost money, lost love. It's easy for our perspective to be unhealthy and say, "Man, that hurts so much." I'm like, but it's just back to the Greek philosophies of, is it better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all? And that's what we forget to think. We forget to think the experience, the perspective, and the prism for all of it. It's not one of those things that's just one thing, it's all the things. And to take it all in the perspective, all the colors makes the rainbow. And that's where we shut down. We get in ourselves and we go like, very monkey brain, very mammal. We're quick to assess and calculate, are we up or down on points? It's almost like watching a game. We're always like, what's the score? What's the score? Who's winning, right? And that's when I wake up in the morning. I'm like, are we winning yet? And my buddy's like, not yet, And I was like, we're always winning. We're winning in life because we chose to look at the prism, look through our perspective, and see all the colors and associate that it's a blend. It takes all the colors to make the rainbow. It takes the ups and the downs, the smiles and the frowns, to get the whole experience to say, hey, at least I got to do something before I died. They always say inspire before you expire, but it's the truth. This thing called life, it's over for the dead, and we're all trying to make it and reprocreate and reproduce. I should reproduce and procreate, and to be giving someone else a chance, future beings. I'm watching these nature shows when I get high, and the elephant puts his feet down, his or hers, and their trunk down, and they emit a low vibration that can go up to like 3 kilometers, so that they can sense the other parts of their family, that they can do more than just their ears and their trunks and their voice and their loud. Instead, they get to be sensing each other, sensing where everyone's at, sensing where the rain's at, sensing where food is at. This is something that nature gave us. When you became grounded with the feet, and they also put their trunk on the ground too, it's something that they sense. It turns out that it's in the lions, it's in the cheetahs, it's inside of us, but we don't really want to pay that much attention. Too much sensation, and we focus on the lack of things that we don't have. It's like a monkey. It's like all of a sudden it was like, you gave me a carrot instead of a grape, right? Instead of I got food. You give somebody that's hungry real food and a real chance, they will appreciate you. It'd be a better meal to that person that is hungry than somebody that's sitting there eating a $400, $600 steak in some fancy restaurant that never appreciated it in the first place. I was watching one movie, I think you've seen it too, it's called Air Jordan. And in Air Jordan, the guy said, I'd rather eat alone. It was Michael Jordan's agent, and his agent was sitting there eating a steak by himself. He's like, at least I got the money, at least I got the steak, but he's eating by himself. You give a bunch of bread to some Palestinians that are starving right now, and they'll call you God. We put this out there, right? And I was putting like money is the devil this morning, but we think that it's going to be a cure-all for everything. Just make more money and everything else will be happy. I'm like, just make more babies and everything else will be more happy. Just go out in nature more and you'll be happy. Just exercise your demons and you will be more happy. It's one of those things that nature has given us. Oh, let me stretch out. The ability to, again, like elephants, put our feet and trunk down to the ground and sense the vibrations that this earth has given us. Even though it's cold and rainy, I'm still going to get underneath here and put my feet in the grass and understand well, a lot of people put their cats and dogs over here and they pee and shit, but I'll go over on this side and connect myself to the vibrations of a teen, the vibrations of affirmations when I'm waking up in the morning, the ability to start to see with my own senses, all of the senses, including through my own trunk, through my own feet, to realize that it's all in harmony. Like I was telling you, and I don't know if you remember this, but I was saying Like, this is my spiritual mentor, and he posted it, but it was a letter. One of my favorite letters is the one that Steve Jobs wrote before he died of liver cancer. If you guys don't remember that, he said it's not about the cars. Could have bought anything, and he just wanted to have a family dinner with all his family around him. You think that you could buy your way out of your emotions, but it's so not true. There's nothing that you can buy outside that'll fix you on the inside. It's one of those things that we don't want to say out loud because it's so easy to just be alone, isolate, and forget that there's so much vibration in the leaves. It's almost like we forgot our own nature, senses in nature. You know, our senses that at least we're alive and we're breathing. I think that's what happens is we'll get shallow breathing. We'll forget to breathe. We're the only mammals out there that does that and hesitates to breathe. Every other mammal breathes regularly, knows how important it is to breathe, and then you'll become a monkey and you're being naturally breathing, and then you become a human, and then you become someone that shallow breathes or forgets to breathe or lets the anxiety breathe or lets the fear breed or lets the fear lead. Then we become a different type of animal. We don't connect anymore. We isolate. We'll grab on our phones. We'll go for the cheap dopamine. You know what I mean. I was watching these people by the campfire, and they're like, camping sucks now because all the kids were on their phone in front of the campfire. It's like, we can't leave it alone. The little monkey brain takes over, and we just want, you know, fresh mangoes or grapes. But we get mad when it's sour grapes or what the hell is this? No fucking way. Let's find a fucking crack pipe, bro. Or a meth pipe. No fucking way. I'm glad I didn't step on it today. That's crazy. That's crazy that some people think that they can find it through drugs. Can you believe I just found a fucking crack pipe, bro? But that's all of us thinking how much we're away from drugs. And I was watching the lady, and she was explaining, she's like, what's worse than heroin? She said, you ready for this? She said, sugar is. Sugar is worse than heroin. Sugar has a worse come down. Makes us have withdrawal symptoms and makes us irritable in case we don't use it. Like, it's one of those things that all of us can say, oh, I don't do drugs. I would never have a pipe and never be judgmental. But I'm here to tell you that it's really real. Motherfuckers are out here and they're not doing right by themselves. I was here last night and there was about 4 or 5 junkies. I wonder if this is their pipe, but you know, doing certain things. And I'm just like, are you guys all right? And she was, one girl said, yeah, but the other people said nothing at all. And I was like, because there's no one inside. There's no place you can hide. There'll never be enough beer. There'll never be enough Coke. There'll never be enough sex. It tops out. I promise you this. And every other human being that tried to eat their way or hide their Saint Slides, baby, or hide their light, then they'll never feel all right trying to be something that they're not. There's some beauty right here, beautiful yellow flower here that's still growing. The ability to be able to still see past your perceived fears. That's what it is. Fears or false expectations appearing real. To see past our lies, which is one of the things that we deny ourselves the ability to keep it real and know that ourselves. And the mask you want to keep true is the one with you, that self talk. And you'll be like, well, my part of my monkey brain is telling me that I'm missing something. And it's like, well, yeah, if you keep looking at it that way, then that's the way it's going to be. You won't be able to see till you have gratitude and appreciation. Then all of a sudden, the vibe changes. The trunk hits the ground, and you can feel the sensations of real life. You know, you can feel that you are alive, and that it's precious to have life. You know, I throw you in the hospital, and all of a sudden, that's the only thing that you'll care about. It'll be top priority, and it'll be top priority real quick. It needs that perspective. It needs that healthy prism and all the colors to become one with your environment, one with your life, and one with yourself. That's what we're really talking about. You know, and that's where I come from this morning, was just like, wow. All weekend long, I was thinking, how do I get more deals? How do I get more deals? How do we grow this business? I want to touch down. Sorry, it got disconnected. I was just saying that. You'll say, oh, I don't feel well, or I don't start seeing things that you want to see instead of and want to believe, instead of the things that are minusing from your brain, like your little monkey brain wants to take over our lizard brains and say, oh, well, I don't have as much as that next person. I've been watching TikTok all morning, and now all of a sudden I get jealous, I get envious, I get what's the other one? Slothist, because you can just like not do anything. You know, we're watching other people live their lives, and they're curating it for us in front of us and going like, oh, hey, these are my best days. And you're only watching the best days, comparing your life to somebody that's showing the highlight reel instead of keeping it real. They'll have you wanting to believe that they have happy, but the truth is, all of us have the prism. All of us need healthy perspective. All of us need to connect. You need to eat, need family, need connection, need to be centered. And that's how I calculate these things. I see them with a healthier perspective. I make sure that I'm being healthy with my thoughts. I make sure that I'm not being hard on myself. And then I built a team so it can reinforce my beliefs. It's one of those things. We too are the battery, just like in the Matrix. We too are the solution to the problem. All we need is love, and we forget to love our lives, you know? We forget to go be free and be, instead of being in mental slavery, to go be someone that understands that life is a full roller coaster of perspectives, and that understanding makes us happier human beings. And that's what we want to be. We want being human is this full perspective. Being human is this situation, and this is the situation that we can all tend to focus. And that's what is it for your cats? Yes. Cats on shirts on Instagram. We make cat shirts. Yo, this girl's carrying her cat litter. She's fucking lifting it, and this other dude, this is, I don't know. I don't think he's talking to himself. She's over here fucking manning it up. Look at her. She's carrying that cat litter like a boss. We all have, and I don't know what got disconnected. I said loves her cats. She'll go have everything. Good morning, Paiva. And you know, be able to smile at something and made her smile. She's fucking hot ass carrying fucking 2-gallon drums, 2-kilo drums on each side, wearing her little body out, but it's for her cats. We all have to have something that is for the team, or it's for my family, or it's for my babies. It's something bigger than it's just for myself, you know? That's because where we get selfish, you know, how she put it down again. She can go the 50 meters, but then she has to stop. That's all of us, man. We'll all have to eventually park it and spark it. We'll all have to eventually put the weights down and take a rest. I think it's hilarious. Look at this girl. She put them down. She's got to pick them back up. Got to pick those rocks back up and keep carrying them, because there's going to be something that's worth more to you than your perceived problems or your perceived worries or anything else you have in life. You're going to have something bigger than you pull you out of your slump, pull you out of your depression, pull you out of your negative self-talk and say, wait a minute, I need to knock that shit off. There's got to be something out there where I get a healthier perspective, get all the colors in the prisms, and remember that there's something bigger than me. And that's where I believe we as human beings become more human. That's when we really highlight our lives and light up and become something more than meets the eye, as they used to say in the Transformers, more than meets the eye. I know you remember that. I use the camera to light that. That's crazy, but hey, I'm a smoker. I got some work to do in the shop. I'm glad I'm getting crack pipes off the fucking street like you won't believe. Like, what the hell is this, bruh? Hope no one else steps in any glass. Hope I'm glad I didn't step in any glass. Like, finish the sentence, you know. I found a crack pipe, but at least I didn't step on it, you know. I'm far from my family, but at least my friends are my family. I don't have babies, but at least I'm willing to keep trying, you know. And it helps to kill those automatic negative thoughts, the ants. It helps to reinforce it with stuff that didn't happen. And I think this system works better. This is a healthier perspective than somebody that says, well, at least you're not starving in Africa, or, you know, or like I do, what if it was war? And you can't complain you're not in the Holocaust, you know? There's people that have endured way more than me, the book Endure, on Instagram and .com, for, you know, surviving South Korean prison, or fucking Ensenada prison, Mexico prison, or even American prison. You know, I'm a felon in 3 different countries, and I still find a way to smile about my life. Grateful every meal that I have, that it's not a prison meal, that I get to choose my meals. Like, right there is an unlocking of freedom and gratitude, and you can almost feel, as I say it, you know, the perspective switch. You can almost feel it when I say it, like, you know, at least I'm alive, you know. There was like so many times where I just wanted to die, but at least I'm alive. And in my life, I'm going to make sure that I keep smiling and enjoying, and smiling at strangers and making them smile, and live my life and shine my light, and reach, preach, and teach every morning, and just smoke my morning spliff, and take it all in, and do my morning stretches, and do my grounding, and go help my friends, and that'll make my whole vibe come alive. You know what I mean? Even on a cloudy day, you got to find something to shine about, and that's this morning's motivation. If you got anything out of this, go ahead, like, share, subscribe below. But as always, peace and love. And Chigathon. That means goodbye, but not forever, in Finnish. And I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. The other side of your fears. The other side of your excuses. And the other of the world, because that's where I be, and that's where I am. And I am affirmations are free on YouTube too, so I highly suggest that you get in on that. I'm gonna get back to it. You should too. Get off this thing and go live your life. Go be free. Peace.